Welcome to View from the Top. I am Modeli Sharafa Yusuf. 2014 was a remarkable year for car dealers, automakers and other stakeholders in Nigeria's automobile industry, as it marked the year the country launched its locally made vehicles, thanks to government's automotive policy, which encouraged the localization of vehicles plying Nigerian roads. The National Automotive Industry Development Plan is meant to encourage local motor manufacturers to produce less expensive models, with price range of between 1.2 million naira and 1.5 million naira. The policy also sets out collaborative options for auto manufacturers, reputable motor dealers, franchise holders and banks to foster all-inclusive domestic dealership networks for user-friendly vehicle purchase schemes, which could be funded by the National Automotive Council. Apart from vehicle production, NAC is also expected to introduce measures to revive the tire industry, and the end result of all of this is expected to be the revival of auto plants, which, according to NAC's analysis, would create over 3,000 direct jobs and save Nigeria a big chunk of the 1.2 trillion naira which is spent annually on the importation of vehicles, spares, and tires. How are the stakeholders keen into this government initiative, and what will all of this mean for the man on the street? Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Chief Michael Adeojo, Chairman, Elizade Motors and Toyota Nigeria Limited. We will be discussing these, tertiary education and entrepreneurship. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Here is a brief biography before we begin our conversation. Chief Michael Adeojo was born on June 14, 1938. He was educated at St. Michael's Anglican School, Ilara Moki, Imade College, Owo, School of Agriculture, Akure, and the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where he studied business administration and graduated in 1965. He also attended various top management development courses, including the Chief Executives Program of the Lagos Business School and the IESE LBS Seminar on Competitive Strategy and Value Creation in Barcelona, Spain. On leaving the university in 1965, Chief Michael Adeojo worked with CFAO, the Federal Inland Revenue Department, and later British Petroleum Nigeria Limited, now African Petroleum, between 1967 and 1971. Chief Michael Adeojo later established Elizade Independent Agencies, a family business co-founded with his late wife, Mrs. Elizabeth Wura-Olojo, a company which later became Elizade Nigeria Limited. He is also the chairman of various companies, including Toyota Nigeria Limited, Morehouse Sofitel Limited, Imperial Telecommunications Limited, Coatville Investments Company PLC, Custodian and Allied Insurance Company Limited, among others. He's also a director in several organizations, including First City Monument Group, Meristem Securities Limited, and EcoBank Nigeria PLC. Chief Michael Adeojo is also the founder of Elizade University in Ondo State. So what inputs did stakeholders like yourself have in the automotive development plan, which is aimed at bringing the car plants back to Nigeria?
When I was asked about this, I gave my very honest opinion, because I believe that the environment was not conducive. Why? Because, one, we didn't have spare parts manufacturers. We didn't have stable electricity. Security was of concern. There are other inputs which I could not easily recall now, but we believe that it was a bit early, but we told them that we were not opposed to the scheme, but that we should be given 2 years to prepare for the policy to be executed. Because we are not manufacturers here. we need to convince the manufacturers to come. And, you know, manufacturing of vehicles is not an easy thing. My suggestion was that they should throw this thing open so that everybody can contest. And then this will be reviewed by government, and then those who are successful will be appointed to set up assemblies here. As I told you, since we didn't have the inputs, no trained personnel to handle them, it would cause enormous disruption in the vehicular use or in the country, because our opinions were not ignored. Were ignored, and so we were forced, because of the overriding conditions in the policy, which stated that the custom duties on the vehicles will be increased from 20 to 35%, and after that, you will pay a levy of 35%, which means 70%. This means that if you order a car costing, say, 1,000, you have to pay 700,000 on the vehicle, and that we put.
You can buy a car for 1 million, you pay 700,000.
Okay, if you buy a car for 1 million, you pay 700,000, and well, if the car is 5 million, you can imagine what you will pay. So this was too much, and we tried to represent these views to the government, but unfortunately it was not adhered to.
So what are your projections for the industry, and what pitfalls are you looking out for and actively planning against?
Right now, as I understand, about 23 assemblies have been proposed for Nigeria. In the first instance, that will be an overkill. Look, our total new vehicle sales in a year is about 60,000 units. Right now, well, I think Peugeot is saying they can assemble under 100,000 units. Volkswagen per year. Volkswagen is saying they can assemble 45,000 units a year. That's already 145,000. And there's no market even for that. Okay? And then come to think of 23 assemblies. Definitely, many of these assemblies are bound to fail. Okay? Because we don't have the market. I can tell you that in 1976, when we were the government called for assembly of vehicles, and they put 100,000. Nissan promised to set up an assembly of 100,000. But Toyota warned that we don't have the market. The other countries have direct access to the manufacturers. They are not going to buy from our assemblies here in Nigeria, because they will prefer those ones that were manufactured directly by the makers. So Toyota proposed an ideal moderate assembly of 15,000 units per year. But the government decided to go along with Nissan. But when it came to signing, Nissan reneged and they didn't set up that assembly. I went back to the government. Now that Nissan has refused to sign, what of Toyota, which proposed an assembly of 15,000, which can increase to 30,000 by doubling by doing 16 hours instead of 8 hours. Then, if that cannot even meet the market, we can do 3 shifts and we can make 45,000.
That was in 1970s.
That was 76. But the government, I understood, said that since Nissan is a Japanese car maker, and they didn't want to deal with any Japanese car. That's the story we were told. So that was why we didn't set up an assembly as far back as 1976. It's a pity that we do not appear to check all the necessary ingredients when it comes to setting up an industry like car assembly. So now that we have been forced somehow to do it, we are doing it because we are the biggest share, holding the biggest share in the market. And we cannot see our business taking our market from us in a very suspicious and unfair way, because we know what the capability of the different motor dealers or motor distributors do in the country.
A car, like you said, has over 2,000 components, and each of these components is an industry. What percentage of this is manufactured or can be manufactured in Nigeria?
Let me tell you what it means. It means that everything that we have to use for those vehicles will be manufactured overseas. They will be packed. They will be shipped. They will arrive here. We will unpack them. We will begin to assemble them. We cannot use the methods, what robots are doing in the manufacturing places. We cannot do them. We don't have the money. We don't have the know-how to do such a thing here now. All right? So we will begin to assemble them. Now, my dear, so which one do you think will be more costly? Those ones that are being mechanically assembled, or those ones that we will be doing partly by hand because labor is cheap? From the Toyota assembly, a car comes out every minute. Every minute in the different assemblies. Okay? But here, maybe we may manufacture, for Toyota, maybe we may manufacture between 5,000 and 3,000 and 5,000 units.
So how can these manufacturing plants be competitive and profitable?
The only thing is that government has decided to forgo the custom duty on these things. That's the only benefit. As we speak, it is we Nigerians who are taking the risk. The manufacturers, as we speak, are just pushing us forward. They are asking us, put your money in it and let us see what happens. That is the case. No single manufacturer has invested money in any of the motor industry plants.